Travis thought it would be a good idea to leave the country for a week. Something about a blockchain cruise with John McAfee and Ronnie Moas. But the show must go on, and go on it will. Way back on episode number 22, we invited our friend Michael O Neal of the Solopreneur Hour to guest host with Travis while I was away. They discussed Michael's journey down the rabbit hole and what it was like for a crypto noob to start obsessing over Bitcoin. Well, with Travis away, it's my turn, and I'm thrilled to welcome Michael back to go further down the rabbit hole. So let's see where this crypto journey has taken the illustrious Mr. O'Neal in episode number 76 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, ignition.
Who's bad?
Hi, you're listening to the Bad Crypto Podcast. My name is Naomi Brockwell, and we are talking about magical internet money.
And it is the Bad Crypto Podcast. I'm your host, Joel Comm, and playing the role of Mr. Travis Wright today is none other than Mr. Michael O Neal of the Solopreneur Hour. Welcome back to Bad Crypto, Michael.
What's up, brother? Let's talk some crypto.
Yeah, people really enjoyed the initial episode way back on 22, which was months ago, because you were kind of the voice of what the heck's going on here. We were just starting phone conversations about cryptocurrency, and you were starting to go down the rabbit hole, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to be away. You and Travis, you guys talk about this, work it out, figure this out. And you've come a long way since then.
I have barely advanced, but
but we're playing the game of sorry, and you just drew a 1.
Exactly. It's interesting. It's a fascinating. Here's my philosophy. I think this time that we have right now is the equivalent, if not more, than the real estate boom we had in the mid-aughts. And you and I were both in Denver, and we saw that you'd buy a house and then you'd hold on to it for a month and sell it for $200,000 more. It was a crazy time, but you had to know a little bit about it. You had to dig into the intricacies of it to not get burned by it. And that's what this feels like to me. It feels like there's a gigantic pile of upside and not a crazy amount of downside, provided you do a bit of research and you dig in a little bit. And then you have that disconnection from money that I think is required for crypto and or Vegas.
Yeah, I think we need to hashtag that gigantic pile of upside. What is that? A GPOU. You guys can start hashtagging that. Well, I'm glad you're here to discuss this today. Of course, this is the show for the crypto curious, the crypto serious. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor for this month. You guys know him. You love him. It's the Zilla app, the ICO marketplace app. Hopefully it's in the App Store by now. Come on, Apple. Get on it. People want to see the latest ICOs. They want to read about them. They want to do their own due diligence, as they should, because, we never recommend coins here, but we do recommend that you study for yourself and, if necessary, consult a financial advisor. So the app should be out here, if not now, soon. If not, I think Abasa Phillips is going to walk down to the Apple HQ, the UFO, the donut that they've built out there. In case you guys haven't seen it, multi-billion-dollar shaped donut that is their new HQ, and he's going to knock on the door and say, "Why isn't my app loaded yet?" In the meantime, you guys can go check it out on the website. ZLA.io/bad is the place to go to learn more about Zilla. And I would like to get a look at it myself. Right now, you can only see the screenshots that are on the website. So, I want to play with the apps.
Let me ask you a quick question regarding the statement you just made. You're saying to consult your financial advisor. And this is a pure devil's advocate question. Do financial advisors know anything about crypto?
Very few. Some do. There's some like, James Altucher.
Right.
So call James. Maybe I should replace the disclaimer with call James.
Everybody call James. Here's the thing. If you're a financial advisor out there and you're great and you really get the landscape of crypto, you should let Joel know, because it would be nice to know of a crypto savvy financial advisor, especially with the new.
You know what? there's so many burgeoning industries that are going to come out of the needs that are presenting themselves right now. I mean, if you are a financial advisor and you're not learning about crypto, what opportunity? If you are a CPA and you're not getting on top of, what it's going to mean to manage taxes for people in crypto, become the expert now. What other industries, what other professions do you think could capitalize on this crypto boom right now, Michael?
Oh, you put me on the spot. You gave away the two or the good ones.
Well, how about lawyers, right? The legal profession.
Certainly lawyers. Yeah. Certainly, I'll tell you what. Even anybody running a small business that could bring in even cryptocurrency as a payment method is going to be way ahead of the game, because there's going to be something there where someone's going to stop in and go, "Whoa, I can buy this burrito with a little Bitcoin. I'm totally going to do that, dude. You got to come to this place and go buy this with Bitcoin."
Burrito coin.
I just think people are perfect example. A good buddy of mine who owns a bit of crypto. He's stringing my racquetball racket. He goes, "You can pay me in Bitcoin if you want." I'm like, "I cannot wait to pay you in Bitcoin. That sounds like it would be awesome." So I think that is, it sort of spans all industries, where if you can get that dialed in, but that kind of leads into the thing I want to talk to you a bit about, which this is so complicated. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell that the cryptocurrency world has been developed by engineers and not designers.
Why does it have to be so hard? I don't get it.
It is. Well, isn't it complicated? Like the other day, you and I were talking, I'm texting you as I want to do late night, because I wanted to buy a bunch of altcoins. And I was like, all right, you know what? I've had my big three now for a few months, and they're obviously doing fine. I bought in a Bitcoin at 4,500 or whatever it was. And so it was fine. Right. But I was like, I want a bunch of alts, and I love the fantasy of the alt, which is like, oh, it's at 0.00008 cents, and I'll buy $250 of it or something.
It's worth $10 million.
Right. Right. Exactly. You wake up one morning, you're like, oh God, I'm a billionaire. All right. Responsibilities. No. So I wanted to do that, but the path to altcoins is quite circuitous for a new crypto person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is, it's the reason we've been referring people to Coinbase to get started, because it is the simplest method of beginning to invest in cryptocurrency. But, there's questions about their integrity with the whole Bitcoin Cash debacle. Go search our website at badcryptopodcast.com and just search for Bitcoin Cash if you want to hear the show where we talked about the shenanigans that they pulled there. But, then you get into the next tier of exchanges, which would be used for a lot of the altcoins like Bittrex, Poloniex, Binance. And then for those that really want to stretch their techno skills to be able to trade ERC20 Ethereum-based tokens, you have Ether Delta, which, I figured it out, but I used to use PCs with MS-DOS, and you had to learn how to configure interrupts and, IRQs and stuff for your sound card so that your game would work. And so for me, a little fiddling isn't difficult, but for the masses that are used to what you see is what you get in point and click, this stuff is complicated.
Well, let's reiterate just the protocol. If I wanted to buy, let's say, Neo, so I would have to, and I'm brand new, right? So I would have to, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I would have to buy some Bitcoin on Coinbase. So I would have to transfer money from my bank account or from my card. The card is quicker. The bank account, you can do more. Basically, that's how that works. So you have a limit on the amount you can do with like a card generally. And then the bank account connects, but it's sometimes 5 to 7 days before it kicks in. And then you have it in your Coinbase. You go from Coinbase.
Well, that's a long way to do it, though. So you can do this, and then you send it from Coinbase to another exchange where you can trade Neo is where you're going with that. Right. Now, I don't have a list of which exchanges allow deposits of fiat handy because I've never done it any other way. I've always gone to Coinbase, but I have become aware recently that there are a small number of other exchanges that you can deposit fiat, dirty money, and by dirty, I mean regular dollars, into so that you can buy with that you don't need to purchase Bitcoin. I'm just not sure which of those exchanges apply.
But then, okay, and that's probably 100% true. But then I get into but are these exchanges safe? Are they, then that's the next thing that comes into my brain, which is there's, 4 or 5 exchanges that we all talk about. You've already mentioned. So I said, all right, I'm going to stick to the, superhighway here. I'm not going to go on the country roads yet. And so I would then transfer my Bitcoin from, saying Coinbase to Binance. Then within Binance, then I can start exchanging and do things with those cryptos. But that sometimes could take days, depending on like how quickly it takes to get your money in, and then how long it takes. Certainly with the big boom and then the dip and everything. Well, that happens multiple times because this time, who knows when the show's going to air? But when that happens, sometimes it takes.
It could be up. It could be down.
Right. Sometimes it takes your transactions a couple days to go through. Because things get busy and they get clogged and everybody wants to dump when it gets to 10K, or you know what I mean? There's always something that you have to accommodate for. So I guess my point is there's not a huge amount of instant gratification here. This is like slow and steady wins the race. You're going to do this. You're going to kind of do it and set it and forget it for a little while.
Well, that first move definitely takes time because you do need to get approved by your bank or wherever, your credit card that you're depositing from. But then over time, your limits are increased. And actually, even though we get an affiliate commission of $10 in Bitcoin when somebody uses our Coinbase link, we're not really recommending it heavily anymore because of the Bitcoin Cash thing and because their sister site, GDAX, doesn't have the high fees associated with it. So, one of the things we do here on the show is we Google things so that people don't have to. And while you were sharing your thoughts, I went on to the internets where I want to go. And I found an article by a gentleman named Jerry Banfield on steemit.com, 8 digital currency exchanges with USD to Bitcoin. And so it's from 7 months ago. So there's probably some changes and probably some others. But GDAX is one of the sites that you can deposit USD directly into. Kraken is another. Gemini.com, which is the exchange owned by the Winklevoss twins, the first to publicly become Bitcoin millionaires and then lose their Bitcoin millionaire status and probably get it back again really soon. Billionaires. Yeah, in their settlement with Mark Zuckerberg, when he kind of took Facebook from them, they settled for, I want to say $65 million, and they took 10% of it and bought Bitcoin at around $100 or so. Wow. So they invested significantly in Bitcoin when it was, a little bit of nothing. And now it's a whole lot of something. So I put this link in the show notes for you guys to check out where other places you don't necessarily have to go through Coinbase and buy Bitcoin and then, sell it into another currency. There are places that you can go directly from USD to Bitcoin or to your altcoin. So Neo in particular, you mentioned, here's something that a lot of people don't know. If you go to coinmarketcap.com and you type in the symbol you want, it comes up with the chart. But right next to the chart is a tab that says markets. And if you click on markets, you will see all the places that you can get Neo and the currency that you can purchase it with. So the top market right now is an Upbit, which is an exchange of Korean won. It's where the most volume is, and it's also where the highest price is for Neo. It's $181 over there, accounting for 29% of the volume. But then you could see Binance, CoinEgg, Bitfinex, Bittrex, and a bunch of others. And so this is interesting because you could see the difference in the current price based on the exchange and its location. And you can also see the volume. Sometimes you'll see a coin is sky high, but then you will take a look at the volume and you'll see, there's not enough volume to support even another transaction. And so just because a price is high or low somewhere doesn't mean it's representative. You want to see where the volume of trading is happening. And that's where you're likely to get a quick buy or sell on your order rather than have it sit there and you wondering, why isn't anybody buying or selling my Neo?
Riddle me this, Joel. Why? And I'm looking at the same chart you are. Although,
can you say that like the Riddler, though, if you're going to do that?
Riddle me that. I don't know how the Riddler. I
don't you remember Frank Gorshin on Batman? The original Batman, Frank Gorshin was the Riddler. Riddle me this, Batman. He was this puzzler. All right, I'm dating myself.
If we could all just date ourselves. So it is one.
It's a perfect match.
I'm in love with myself. Seinfeld. So on mine, it says Upbit is trading at 182.35. And it's got a volume of 30.16. And then for Binance, it says 152.45. Why is there such a disparity? Why is it $30 different between the two?
Yeah, great question. And so Upbit is a Korean exchange, and some of it has to do with the conversion between the dollars, but it also has to do with it's an entirely different market. This is why if you'll, for example, look at Bitcoin, you'll really, in the past, we've seen a stark difference on exchanges in Zimbabwe. I remember when Bitcoin was at about $8,000 it was trading at 16 or 17,000 US dollars in Zimbabwe. So it has to do with, supply and demand in that particular market. I wish I knew what the name of the Zimbabwe exchange is, but if you'll go to Bitcoin, you'll scroll down, you'll find that same Upbit market. And as of this recording, in your past, now that you guys are listening in the future, Bitcoin in the US is around $13,000. But on this Upbit, it's at $15,624. So it's a big discrepancy, but it's a different marketplace, and they're trading, they're valuing it a little differently, which, if you're able to do some arbitrage, what if you're a dual citizen and you're buying, at the lowest price that's on the exchanges here, which is, by the way, you can do a sort. If you click on price in the markets, you can see the highest and lowest price. The lowest is on Binance, MDA to Bitcoin. I'm not sure what MDA is, but it's 11,918 right now. And the highest is on OKX, and it's BCD paired with Bitcoin, and it's 16,723. So you've got a $4,000 gap here on this. And it's not a game that I want to play. Arbitrage is, crypto is risky enough on its own. Arbitrage makes it even riskier, because if you don't get the Bitcoin moved in your transaction and quickly, you could end up, with no gains or even losses.
But some people could be good at it, right? So the idea is you buy whatever, $5,000 at 11,000, and then you sell whatever you have at 16, 723 or whatever. And if you were good at it,
sounds great on paper. Yeah. Some people are good at life. Some people are not. So, if you're good at it.
Well, so hold on. Is the Bitcoin a Bitcoin is, I guess, what I'm asking then. It's like, why wouldn't I go to Binance and go MDA to BTC? Why wouldn't I do that?
I don't know what MDA even is.
Neither do I.
So that's part of the reason right there. I'm not even sure what coin that is. I don't know what the volume is in that, because I'd have to acquire that to buy my Bitcoin with it. How big is the market for it? So, coinmarketcap.com is your friend. Not only should you go there and look at the prices and, what the coins are, but the volume is important. The volume on certain exchanges can be important. It gives you information about how much it's up or down over an hour, 24 hours, over 7 days. And, Ronnie Moas has told us repeatedly, don't look at the price of the coin. Don't look at that. He says you want to be looking at market cap. You want to see how much interest is there in this. Not like, you talked about the fantasy about getting the coin at 0.0000008 cents, and buying 1 million of them for, $30 and hoping that it goes to, a penny so you can retire. But that's gambling. That's not investing.
Right. It is, what it reminds me of is, although you would not know by the last time I went to Vegas, I like to go and I'll sit at the blackjack table. And let's say I have $200 and let's say I last 3 hours. I go, that was actually fun. I had a fun time for my 3 hours at the table. Eventually I lost my money, but it was fun. I feel like I could look at it like that. Go, hey, you know what? This will be fun to watch. Oh, and then speaking of, by the way, I found a couple of cool, at least Mac apps to follow and track your Bitcoin. Have you guys gone over that in your life?
Do tell. We have talked about some, but I'm curious what you've discovered, and we'll make sure that we put these in the show notes. And I will Google them as you tell me. What do we got?
One is called Crypto BAR. And I paid the premium. I think I paid for the two things. So one's 99 cents and the other one's $4.99. And it allows you to get a quick view of all the stuff you're invested in. Well, at least the stuff that they carry. And it allows you to put your own wallet up in the bar as well. So you can sort of see, for better, for worse, how quickly or you are winning or losing that day.
Now, I found cryptobar.net, but I'm not sure if that's it. That says it's the next generation cryptocurrency community, and it looks like they're actually doing a crowd sale. I know nothing about this. So is there a different, is it cryptobar.com maybe?
No, this was in the Apple App Store, like the
the App Store. Maybe if I do CryptoBar app, let's see what comes up if I do that. There it is, CryptoBar. There's the app, and it was on Product Hunt. It's got a 3.7 rating out of 10 reviews from Product Hunt, and this is definitely different than the website that I went to. So I know nothing about the website. I just know that there is a CryptoBar token sale for something.
Well,
okay, so you like this one?
Yeah, it's cool. It's handy. So right now I just have Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, OMG, Ethereum. And then I have my own investment there. So I can sort of see if it's up or down or what's doing with it.
Okay. What else do you like?
Cool at a glance. And there was actually another, that's the only app I'm using. I tried a couple. This is the one I landed on. I did install another one that I didn't like as much. I like this. This one has price alerts, which is really cool. So it'll literally notify you on an OS level. Like, hey, this thing has gone down or it's going up or, buy, sell, whatever. It's got your little quick view. It's got, you can add as many tickers as you want to the menu bar. And they don't have everything, but they have a lot of the big ones.
Have you used Blockfolio?
Yeah, I have it. Yeah, I own that one.
But you like CryptoBar better?
Well, I've not used Blockfolio on my Mac. Do they have that on? I have it on my phone, but not on my computer.
There is a blockfolio.com, and it does look like it's an app only. So no, I do not see a desktop version of Blockfolio. It's purely an app. But it's available for iOS and for Android.
Oh, yeah, I have that one. And that's the one I use to track my stuff. This is on a Mac desktop machine is where you'd find CryptoBar.
Got it. So let me ask you this question. When you first started your crypto acumen on a scale of 1 to 10, would you say it was a 1 at the very beginning?
Yeah. And beyond that, I think I had literally zero experience with stock markets and, reading financial charts. And I'm still not great at them, but I have at least an idea of them now. And I didn't at all before.
Yeah, so rate yourself now on that same 1 to 10 scale, where 1 being a complete clueless newbie and 10 being expert of all things crypto. Where would you place yourself?
Probably between a 4 and a 5 now. I feel like I'm still new. I feel like I know the general direction of where to look and the kinds of things I want to look for, like being able to look at market cap and things like that. But I can't look at a candlestick chart and go, oh yeah, I see what's going on there. I just don't quite get that yet.
I see green and red.
Yeah, I see green and red, and man, I wish I bought when it was really red.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because honestly, I don't know that I'd rate myself, much higher than that. The more I know, the more I realize there is to know, and then I realize that I don't know that. And so the learning, and even, every time I'm asked to speak now or a friend, says, explain blockchain to me, I'm still working through the right phraseology that makes it simple to explain to other people, because you don't want to go on and on and on about it. I've seen people's eyes glaze over when I start talking about this stuff. And so I'm still honing and perfecting that.
I agree. And when someone says, well, I say, well, blockchain is going to change our future. And, it's what will make contracts secure. Then they go, how? I'm like, I have no idea, but I'll tell you
but it will.
But it's totally gonna, you should invest in it. No. But that's a bit how my conversation goes. Oh, dude, it's totally awesome. Why? Don't know, but it's going to be.
I really believe with my whole heart that blockchain technology is the most disruptive technology of our lifetime. I feel, and that's because it's going to disrupt more industries. The mobile phone revolution, the smartphone revolution affected old phone carriers, and it impacted how we engage and interact with others, right? Apps have changed how we do stuff on the go from anywhere. But blockchain is going to go beyond the disruption that the smartphone has had on our world, because it's going to disrupt every industry, from power to, companies to voting to music streaming and everything in between. It's here to stay. And regardless of the price of cryptos going up, cryptos go up, cryptos go down, blockchain is becoming more and more pervasive.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I'm not sure if we talked about this much, but I have and I'm sure everybody has these, but I had a crypto near miss story that was such a bummer, because I just spent 5 weeks in Australia. And, as you know, I have another podcast, and sometimes I get some checks from advertisers and that kinds of thing. Well, that happened. And I said, and I was in Australia, and I said, I know I'm not going to use this money at least until I get back in December. I should just throw it into Bitcoin and just let it hang out there while I'm here. And then, hopefully I'm very optimistic, about Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to crash down to 4. And even if it did, I think it would come back up. I'm okay with it. And so I said, okay, let me do that. So I go and I try to do it, but I'm in Australia, dude. And I cannot tell you how many fraud flags pop up when you try to do anything with your bank account when you're in a different country. And it happened to me every single step of the way. And I couldn't, because we had the time shift, and I couldn't pick up the phone and call them. By the way, Bitcoin was at 6,500, I think, at the time. This is right before it jumped up. And then I couldn't get it. It went from 6,500 to 19,000. And I was going to buy 2 full Bitcoins. And,
everybody's going to have their crypto stories. We talk about the big wins, right? Oh, it went from this to this, and I sold and I made all this money, but everybody's going to make crypto errors. I made some recently when, crypto took a big dip. I thought, I'm going to peel a little cash off here, finally, for the first time that I've peeled any cash off, in case that this really does go lower. And of course, I sold at the low. I didn't sell a lot, and I didn't sell any Bitcoin. I just sold a little bit of some alts, but I regret it. And then I tell myself, you know what? No regrets, because it's always better to take profits than not take profits. It's always better to, have some money that you can actually spend on most things in your possession, even if it's, inflationary and your dollar is going to be worth less tomorrow than it is today. It's, that's how we mostly pay our bills for now. Eventually, that's going to change and we'll be all in crypto. But you bring up a really great point. And I think it's going to be the topic for a whole show eventually, but the emotional side of trading. And, you said that you're like, okay, let's let it sit. If it goes down, it's fine. I'm good with it. That takes a strong mindset to live there.
Yeah. And I think I think it also takes you don't have to be super married to money. I'm not that married to money, and I know it's a weird statement to make, but I'm just not. And so if it went away, I'm like, I guess I'll have to make more of that stuff. And I go figure out a way to make more of it. So,
you know what? That's spot on. And maybe it's age. Maybe some people come to this maturity sooner. Maybe it's values. I don't know. But I was just talking with another friend of ours recently, and I said, let's say that I were to make, millions in crypto. How would my lifestyle actually change? Like, what would I do? And I'm thinking, well, I don't want to get a big house because I've had a big house before, and it's just a hassle to take care of it. I don't need a big showy affluent mansion. I'm not going to buy a bunch of jewelry. I have all the tech that I want. What am I going to start dressing, nice like you? You do that because that's what you like to do. No, I won't. I'm going to be a schlub still. I'm going to wear my ratty jeans and t-shirts, and that because that's just how I'm comfortable. What would it actually change? And I don't think it would change much. I really don't. I'm in this because I love it.
House in the mountains or something, who knows? I'm the same. What I would probably have is I would own a place somewhere that had a big garage and a big workshop so I could go play, and a place for my drums. And that'd be
a studio. Your own recording studio, maybe.
Yeah. And, but yeah, I don't think it would change much. And I'd probably have, I'd probably have property. I'd really probably start buying property like it was going out of style. which I think is a super sound. One of my buddies had a great philosophy, and I was there. In fact, in Australia with this same dude, he has a number, and I don't know what his percentage was, but he did a bit of day trading. And I know that's not sort of the general, this is how you're going to win theme. But I think he started with like 10K, and he would do his research and find different things. And he would open up during the day and he would buy a certain amount. And then if he hit his percentage that he wanted at any point during the day, he would pull it. And it didn't matter if it went super high or super low after that. That's how he did it. And man, he's on a run that is incredible. And I guess one of his buddies is really this financial ninja and had made millions and millions of dollars in the quote real finance world. It gave him this strategy, and it's been really working for him. He knows how to graph the charts and do all these things. So he has an idea of what he's looking for. And like how BCH would follow Bitcoin, that was one of his big things, which kind of looking at the charts and going, okay, so if Bitcoin does this, BCH typically does this, and then would follow it. And so when I was there, BCH was the one that he kept investing in, and he would just follow it. And it was, that's when I realized, just like you just said, that's when I realized that there's more to this. Like there's another tier. Once you get the basics, which I think is challenging, there's another whole tier of, all right, now how do I really maximize? Because I think right now we're still in this major Wild West phase. And we're going to look back at this time and go, man, I could have been doing this, and this, and I wasn't because I didn't know how to do it yet, which is why I think the education side is so critical right now for people to make, real money before governments step in and everybody gets taxed on everything. And, there's they're
already taxing. You already have to pay your taxes.
I know they are, but I think that, that's one of those things that I'm sure there's ways to do it that are
Mike,
the right.
Would you ever purchase a Lamborghini?
Never in a million years. Well, hold on. Wait.
Think about it.
I would purchase a 1968 Lamborghini Miura.
Classic.
Oh, yeah. I would never purchase a new one in a million billion years.
Now, these guys that I'm going to talk about, and I'm not going to name any names. You can feel free to do whatever you want, but you guys know who they are. Because you've probably unwittingly interviewed some of them on your podcast, the Solopreneur Hour. By the way, you guys should go check out Michael's show. It's called the Solopreneur Hour, solopreneurhour.com. He's at Solo Hour on Twitter, and a great show speaking with entrepreneurs. So you could tell he's a natural at this whole podcast thing. But there's some people in this space that they cater to young people, especially men, 19 to 24 years old, and they show them the big house, the mansion, the flashy car, the money, the pretty girls, the lifestyle, and they sell them on this dream, quote unquote dream, because I'm not sure it really is a dream. And they lead them down this path of, money is somehow going to solve all your problems. And I got to say, once you have paid off your debt, right, and you owe no man, then everything beyond that is gravy. It doesn't really solve many problems for yourself beyond having enough to be out of debt and live your life. The best problems you could solve with an abundance is by giving to others and helping solve their problems. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think certainly the dude that you're referring to gives me douche chills every time I see him.
Douche chills. Hashtag that.
And I've definitely had a lot of people on the show that have made a bunch of money and then been like, guess what? I was still as miserable as I was before, or that wasn't the thing that really scratched the itch. And then they moved from there. But I will also quote one of my Daniel Tosh, who said, "You ever see anybody frown on a jet ski?" So obviously making money is helpful in our lives, but there is a point when you get to it and you go, yeah, all right. So the bills are paid and the debt's good, but it's not the thing.
I've been with and I've been without. With is better.
With is better.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can be pretty good without. That's the thing. And that's the part I think that's, for me, a bit of a challenge, because when I went through a major at age 37, completely wiped out financially, emotionally, etc. Like I lost my parents in short order. It was like this complete reset on life. And I was in Denver and I completely pared down my life. No car payments. I got a roommate. I was paying $500 a month in rent. I didn't have to make a ton of money. My overhead was really low, but you wouldn't look at me and go, oh, that's an unhappy person. I wasn't at all. I just said, all right, this is where I am and I got to hustle and I got to do my thing to get back to where I want to be. And then I ended up being so much further than I'd ever been before, but it didn't matter. It was, so I guess the point is that's where I get my money. Okay. It goes away.
There's a lot to be said for contentment, right? That because life is to be lived today. It's as trite as it is, it's not a destination; it's a journey. And a lot of people miss the journey, the dailiness of life, and enjoying and embracing the fact that we do have this gift because we don't always, and won't always. And
that's true.
All
right, enough Tony Robbins. Let me get into something I wanted to talk to you about before we bolt.
Do I need to lay on the counselor's sofa for this? Or are you going to ask me about my childhood or anything?
No, I'm trying to go the other way. We were talking about this. I sent you an article, and this is part of the research process of what we have to do. I mean, I think, if you're going to go spend money, and I feel like maybe you have to look at it like that. I'm going to spend money right now. And you hope that someone's going to spend money back and you're going to make more than you spent. That's kind of how I view it in my brain. So if I put $250 into an alt, I think I just spent, that's $250 I don't have.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I mentally spend that money and then it just sits there. And then, God willing, it turns into something that is better than it was. But who knows? But I sent you a link, and this was on Reddit. We talked about maybe linking this up, and you don't have to. But this was like someone had written, and we don't give financial advice on this podcast. These were like a bunch of alts that people were looking at in 2018 to do some research and due diligence on. And I started looking into them, and I made a list for myself that like, these are the ones that I'm going to really focus on for 2018.
All right, let's take a quick look then at this list that we've got in the show notes. And of course, we're not recommending that anybody invest in these, but this is an article on Reddit. And this guy breaks down what he thinks are the top 10 essential cryptos, coins, and tokens everyone should think about owning in 2018.
What I like about just this whole post is not the fact that this guy posted and listed these 10. It's the discussion below it that I really enjoyed. So it's very well worth checking this page out. First of all, because these people, a lot of them are doing a ton of investigation into maybe more than I have time for. And I'm not saying I'm going to rely on complete their investigation, but it gives me a pretty good heads up on what they're looking at and why they're looking at it. But I was looking very specifically down this thread for people that were like, wow, I think that's a really bad idea. Or I love these picks. And almost universally, people really thought that this was a solid list. And I thought, okay, that's like, for someone who's kind of a newbie like me, this is at least a place for me to go, all right, of the hundreds of different options I have, this gives me a bit of a refined list to really dig in and do my research before I spend my money. And that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, I mean, Reddit can be a vast wasteland, but it could also be a place for some great research. In fact, very early in my crypto journey, I was in this same cryptocurrency subreddit. And I remember somebody talking about OMG. And I think I bought a really small position in OMG at around, I don't know, $2. And it's gone up.
20 now, or was it 20?
Yeah. It's gone up like 10x. And, I didn't do too much at that point early on. I was I think I was gambling a little bit. I was looking for ones people were talking about that looked like legitimate projects. I wasn't going to put a lot of money in them, a couple $100 and roll the dice. But because there was this wisdom of crowds effect, that a lot of people were saying, yes, and here's why. It's all right. I'll roll the dice and move my mice.
Yeah. And that's how this thing goes too. And then, so reading through this thread, I not only I learned a bit about some of the alts that I didn't know anything about, but I got to hear really valid arguments on either side of why you should or why you shouldn't invest. And that was really good for me to kind of congregate the information in one spot instead of having to dig around for hours and hours and hours. Now, this is my full responsibility. So it's like, if I just blindly buy based on reading this thing, that's all on me. But if this gives me the idea, like, okay, I can tell just based on how this guy is even summarizing these, he's into this. Like, this is something he's doing a lot of research into. And I mean, I may not understand all of it, but I kind of don't have to at some regard. Like, I go, all right, this is back to the money thing. I go, all right, at some point for me, I go, okay, I have enough evidence that I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to put my hard earned cash into this thing. And if it was a dumb move because I read some thread on the internet, that's so much on me. That is so my fault. But I really liked it. I thought it was a good summary, and I thought it had great arguments on either side for many of the altcoins that you guys have talked about on your show. So there you have it.
And I'm not going to say which, but those who have listened to the show might be able to guess. Out of the 10 that he's listed here, I own a position in 5 of them. So, okay. And out of the others, I've only heard of 2 of them in passing, and 3 of them I haven't heard of at all. So maybe I need to go and do my research a little bit more. It's just that there's only so many hours in a day. And I've realized that I don't have to, I can miss, some things, and it's okay. I'm about blockchain as a whole. The technology is here to stay. And Michael O Neal, thanks, buddy, for coming back and going down the rabbit hole again. And I'm sure you've discovered, as our listeners have, that not only does the rabbit hole go deep, but the further down you go, it's expansive. It opens into more and more possibility.
I do appreciate you having me on. And yeah, very much so. I think that there's, like I said earlier, multiple tiers of expertise in this universe. And I appreciate you leading the way, man. You guys are doing great. And congratulations on, at some point in your podcast career, hitting 2 million downloads.
Oh, we already have. We've already passed it. Yeah.
I know, but I don't know when this is going to air.
Well,
so I'm saying at some point, I would have said today, congratulations, but I don't know if it's going to be today anymore. So,
well, just congratulate us on our 3 millionth then, because
there you go. Yeah, it could be.
Before I let you go, not only does Michael have the Solopreneur Hour podcast, which is a top business show, but you are also a musician and a music fanatic, even you might say an audiophile. And just like we have found a market in our niche with crypto, you have started a podcast recently that is very specific for people who really love their music to sound good. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, and it's kind of interesting because we're fairly parallel in this way, which is it's people that either grew up with good music, like, they had their dad's stereo system or they listened to records, or people that are really young and are, because that's what's happening now too, is there's kind of a new vinyl revolution of people that are starting to listen to music. Here's the thing. I could almost to a person bring someone into my little house here and play them their favorite band on my stereo system, and they'll look at me and go, oh my God, I didn't even know there's a tambourine in that song, or I'd never heard this part before. I didn't know this existed. And my contention is you've been listening to that music for your whole life, but you've never actually heard it, because we are so used to listening to Spotify and Pandora and Apple Music, all of which have complete shit reproductions of the music. When you hear it for real, when you hear the actual recording, it changes it from being something you do to an experience. And the idea of bringing people back into loving music again, where you can just sit down and listen to an album from top to bottom, is what the show is all about. It's called Beginner Audiophile, and it's a blast.
Beginner Audiophile is the podcast, available at all the places that podcasts happen. What's the website for it?
BeginnerAudiophile.com.
Perfect. We'll put that in the show notes. Michael, thanks again for joining us, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I was going to say the main deal is the Instagram. At Beginner Audiophile on Instagram is where I do most of my social media-ing for that.
Perfect. Well, may your crypto journeys take you to great profits and heights of blockchain enthusiasm and excitement as you spread the good news of blockchain and audio. And why don't you take us out of the show, my friend?
Guys, girls, crypto people of Earth, thank you so much for listening to the Bad Crypto Podcast with Mr. Joel Comm and me today. And thanks for listening. Go buy some awesome crypto. Stay bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.